Hello and welcome you crazy people to Tabletop Oddity. My name is Jay and today I'm going to be doing a battle report of Star Wars Legion. Now I am going to be doing it using pictures and doing like a telestrator effect over it. For any of those of you who know Once Bitten back from the Warhammer Fantasy days, it's sort of an homage to that kind of thing. But the reason I'm doing it is because this is the kind of thing I want to do at tournaments. Now I met a gentleman named Tim at Element Games, the last event we went to. And he was there, and he doesn't live very far away from me, and he very graciously invited me into his lovely home with his lovely family. But we played in the shed, which is more than a beautiful space to play this kind of stuff, and where we war gamers belong. But the long story short is I took some pictures. Now, there are a couple of things with these pictures that even I am like looking back now, I'm like, I could have done some better angles and possibly allowed me to explain the game a little bit better. But I didn't do that, and I will get better at this. But I thought, well, we'll do the video anyway, because let's see how all the technology and that kind of stuff actually goes, shall we? So for those, I'm going to be using like a telestrator effect like this. Hopefully it won't lag out too much. There has been a problem in the past where I've tried this and the video has been stuttery, but hopefully now it will be fine. So, well, this actually isn't what we played because there was too much like large pieces of terrain. Tim has made a lovely terrain, but it's massive, and it's like, you know, big AT in the middle, massive giant hills and stuff like that. And this key positions basically says place these objectives on terrain that's not in deployments on stuff like that. Would have been pretty much impossible, especially with the disarray. Rapid reinforcements, you get up to 2 units that can come in on the end of turn 1. Well, it's the end of turn 2, I think, sorry. But yeah, so we actually ditched key positions. We don't go with key positions. We go with recover the supplies. And then we sort of weighted the objectives a little bit to this side of the board. And I'll get onto like what we're both playing in a second, actually. But yeah, you can see there's an objective here, one here, fourth one here. The fifth one is all the way over on the other side of the board, which we'll show in a second. Now, this sort of not a perfect thing to tell you what we're both playing, but he's playing Rebels and I'm playing Imperials. He's got 2 ATRTs. This is one of them. 2 units of troopers. This is 2 of them. This is Luke Skywalker. On the other side, he's got Leia, another 2 units of troopers. 3 units of troopers, I think, because he has one of them he has the fleet troopers in reserve. I think it's 4 units of rebel troopers and 2 units of fleet troopers. And I think there's either 2 or 3 on the other side, along with another ATRT and Leia. I'm rocking 2 speeder bikes, 5 units of stormtroopers with DLT, and Vader with force reflexes and force push, that kind of thing. So, but you can see here, this is the right side of the board. Most of the objectives here, so most of my actual force is here, like most of my power being Mr. Darth Vader himself. He is really the thing that shines, isn't he, basically, in the Imperialist, well, in this Imperialist, because I don't have an ATRT, so yes, that is true. On the next shot, this is the other side of the board. Here you can see, I thought he only had 5 trooper units. He must have only had 5. I thought he told me he had 6, because I can only see 1 fleet trooper unit, unless there's a sneaky one hiding somewhere that I don't necessarily know. Who knows? I'll have to double check with Tim himself. But here you can see this is. Let me actually get my the thing back up. Leia's here, the ATRT's here. Rebel troopers. This is the other objective. You can see this is the middle of the board, so that's the objective that I mentioned before. Beautiful AT-AT in the middle. Now on this. We're putting disarray, so you need to put 1 thing in each one. I put 1 unit of stormtroopers in reserve. He put 1 unit of fleet troopers in reserve. I thought, yeah, well, I'll definitely put my speeder bikes. And I thought, well, I'll put at least 1 unit of stormtroopers to at least threaten this. But I'm basically outpowered here. I've got 3 units. He's got, 4 activations, but he's got an ATRT. It doesn't look great for me on this side, and to be fair, it doesn't end up being great for me on that side. But we'll when we get there, we'll get there, kind of thing. First turn, I play push. He obviously plays coordinate bombardment, and Leia essentially just well, it doesn't. Well, she takes. I think it's either 2 or maybe 3 from this unit of stormtroopers. She moves up into cover here, and then she just like blasts all 3 of these because she can't see anything else basically. So, that's and Leia activates first, and yeah, that's pretty much. It's not them dead, but she kills quite a lot of them. Well, they end up having quite a lot of them die. I'm not sure if these guys shoot them as well, but the rest of them are pretty much fine. So yeah, that's. Oh, I haven't got rid of that thing. On this side of the board, I haven't. This is what I'm saying. I didn't quite take enough pictures at the right times, but basically his rebel troopers shot this unit of stormtroopers to give them a suppression. My unit of stormtroopers that were here have obviously just done a move. I think I just double moved because I wanted to get into contact with the objective. Can't pick it up. It does take an action to pick up the objective. And here you can sort of sneakily see Mr. Luke Skywalker himself in the top left. So he double jumps into that. Well, he jumps and then walks into that position. One thing that we did do incorrectly is for some reason that we both had in our heads that commanders weren't troopers and couldn't pick up the objectives. Now we do figure that out. They probably could in turn 3, but we decided to just make it so they can't pick up the objectives. Otherwise, I think it would have been it would have been a bit advantageous to me because Darth Vader could have just picked up like all 3 or 4, and Luke, if he could have done earlier on, he could have literally just jumped onto one, moved onto the other, yanked them away all across the other side of the board, and probably won that way. But we just didn't know what we didn't know what we were doing, and I don't mean that in such a weird way, but it was just a mistake in that sense. So Luke's jumped over there, I've moved over there, they've got shot, and that's all that's happened in that picture. His unit of rebel troopers have obviously just gone from here to here to try and claim this objective. They've had to double move to get into base contact. You can see Luke has gone from here to here, taking his dodge. Pretty classic. Nothing amazing going on as far as I can tell right there. This card, you can ignore the card. Oh, you can see. Can you see my mouse? You can see my mouse, which is pretty good in case I forget the thing. But they've literally just moved from here. They got shot, so there's only 2 of them left. Well, actually, there was 4 of them left. I've actually just remembered. There were 4. But then when I jumped, I was getting bombarded. Like, they were just going to die because they were in the open and there was no terrain. So I jumped. I did that thing, where you do it in one action. And 2 of them died. So I was like, well, they're out of the game. But they ended up actually being quite useful, later on and stuff like that. And then my speeder bikes, first turn, they've gone from here up onto the hill, did a move down the hill, and completely just annihilated this unit of troopers here, which I was pretty happy with. I think they only had 5 in because he basically took he didn't take the extra guy, he just took the extra Z6 on them all, and I took the DLT, so the red one with impact, as you can imagine. Nice little shot of with Luke in the corner, but the speeder bikes, I really love the speeder bikes, really good unit, I think. They got a lot of hits and a lot of suppression done. Vader moved up through his saber. All of the think the speeder bikes also shot him. The speeder bikes, they've moved up the hill, double move, and they've shot him. This unit of stormtroopers, obviously that one's going to get that objective. They're coming to get this objective. This objective here, obviously, was that the other unit of stormtroopers went this way. They shot him, so you can see 3 suppression. Not much left of that unit. But, that's just the way it goes for him. And then you can sort of see, at this point, Tim, what's he got on this side? He's got Leia over here in the corner, fair enough. But I've not got too much. I've got my speeder bikes here who take 2 wounds from this round of shooting, which I'm pretty happy with because the AT-RT didn't do too much against them, which, I think on average they probably would. Got a bit lucky there. You can sort of see my one guy just hiding there. There's actually 2 guys there. This unit just seemed to, he always got suppressed, didn't rally, and then I just took a dodge because I was like, I don't want you to blow me off the table, basically. Because I didn't want to run off the table with suppression and stuff like that, considering Vader was on the other side of the board. You can see that the one guy moves up to take this objective, which I was like, it's very bold. But, he manages to get it and he eventually starts hiding in here. So that's the way that is. But that's the left side of the board. You can see he's moving sort of gradually this way because it's like, I've got this objective. I need to get into the fight on the other side of the board. And so I'll start moving over there. And this was a bit upsetting. The ATRT just aimed and shot my speeder bikes, causing 3 wounds. He'd already taken 2 wounds, I think, from the rebel troopers and stuff like that. Pretty much killing one outright and almost killing the other, but not quite, of course, which at the end of the day, I'm quite pleased about. These are fun games. I sound like I'm taking this very seriously. During the game, we were not taking this very seriously, so don't worry if I start being gloaty or something during the game. It was all in good fun. Vader just moves up, and he threw his saber at the ATRT, and you can see the little 3 wound marker, because I don't think I don't think vehicles are immune to pierce unless there's a rule in armor. Maybe I'm playing it wrong, but I don't think they are. So we never ended up rolling the dice, but there he goes. Vader's putting some work down on the AT-AT. I could have possibly thrown my saber at these guys to stop them there and then, but they already had 2 suppression tokens on them by this time. So I think they never really even picked that up. I'm not even sure if they actually ever managed to claim it or if they claim it and then die, but one way or another, they don't end up with it. My speeder bike, he just moves this way, and you can see he's only really come this way because Mr. Luke Skywalker's come jumping over onto the AT-AT, moved forward, and he's in a prime position to either, well, we're not claiming the objective because of the way that we messed it up, but he's in prime objective to, decimate these 2 units of stormtroopers here. There's 1 unit here, 1 unit here. Luke can very easily come in and possibly kill them. So once he moved there, I'm like, wow, I need to sort Luke out. So the subtext to this is me and Tim actually played at Element Games, and we actually played Disarray, and it was very similar to this game. We all packed on this side of the table, and Luke and Vader got in combat and just stayed there, basically. You can see Vader's actually been shot here, so he instead of shooting my speeder bikes, he shot everything into Vader. Makes sense, want to try and whittle him down. But once Luke had moved to here, the speeder bike takes his compulsory move, shot at him, causing a wound, causing a suppression. Happy with that. Everybody basically decides to, everybody shoots into him. These guys suppressed, can't really do much, but they're all shooting at Vader. I can't necessarily always remember why I put the picture in. Oh, they must have got their extra suppression token from the 2 guys who are behind this TIE fighter. Had a line of sight. Obviously, the normal guy's out of range, but this is actually range 4. So I just shoot at these guys just to give them a suppression, which was basically all they ever got used for after turn 1. But it's effective and it works well enough. You can't see this. This is a terrible picture, if I'm honest. I wonder if I rotate it, will it make any difference? Ugh. Sort of, it's slightly better rotated. What you can't see here is that the guy who's got the objective has moved. Right, he's right in under here with the objective. You can see the objective, but you can't see the guy. And the rest of them, they're obviously going that way, as we said. Moving on, we can see, so my speeder bikes, who had come down here, and for all the world were looking like they were going to go this way and deal with these rebel troopers and stuff like that. Once Luke became so threatening, I was like, I have to go that way, because I could have possibly shot Luke straight away, but I didn't take that opportunity. But now that they were here, I was like, right, well, I'm actually buggered here. I need to sort out Luke. So I basically just did that with my compulsory move, second move here, and then shot at him. I think causing at least 1 wound. I think maybe 2 or 3. I think actually 3 from what I recall. I don't have a good picture of that after the fact. The AT-AT doesn't actually head towards the middle, heads towards these guys, but never really does enough damage to them. They're in cover, you can see, because of the rocks. The suppression adds it's a maximum of 2, but you know what I mean. All the time sort of getting cover, so a bit of a pathetic fight. They do shoot the AT-AT and cause a wound. Nothing really amazing there. Leia comes out of a little hiding hole, getting over to the middle of the board. These guys still suppressed, still struggling. Vader's there with still looking ominous. If Vader moves into combat with them, they're dead. And I do take Master of Evil. This is actually where we realised that basically the commanders were troopers and probably should have been able to pick them up, because I was like, do enemy trooper units gain the suppression from Master of Evil? The answer, as far as I can tell, is yes. And they are troopers and they should have been able to pick up the objective. So don't write in. I'm well aware that that was a mistake. Can't 100%. He played Son of Skywalker. There we go, Son of Skywalker. I've got 2 pictures here of the same. You can sort of see pretty obvious there what happened. He jumped off. He moved into combat with me, got his charge, and pretty much annihilated them. Well, he actually literally annihilated them all in one attack. That's the dodges. He literally hit with all of them, and I rolled 1 dodge, and they died. So that was the thing that happened. Now, he did have another 3 attacks. I think he just shoots the stormtroopers that are there. One thing I never mentioned, which I'll try and mention in this next picture if I can. Obviously, that was the end of turn 2 before we played these cards. And you can see in this picture, you might be like, where did they come from? Up here. Oh, I'm blocking the shot. That's annoying. Behind me, I'm not going to move it. We'll just go with it the way it is. This is where he deployed his rapid reinforcement. So he's got a unit of fleet troopers right there. So when you come in on turn 2 at the end, when you draw it, you can't do anything. Your count is activated. And my unit of stormtroopers are literally just off screen here. I'm surprised you can't see them because they're literally like right there. But you can't see them. But yeah, just behind here, that's where the fleet troopers are. Again, I need to do wider shots to sort of explain it, possibly at the start and the end of the turns. Well, that's the sort of the same thing, but you know what I mean. Yeah, so he killed... let me get rid of that as well. So he killed all of them in 1 hit, shot me. Vader, I get the dodge from the card, get the dodge from Relentless, Force Reflexes, and yeah, they die. They've got 3 suppression, and so does the unit here get 3 suppression, which ends up being pretty pivotal because now that Luke's fairly far away, there's a high chance they'll panic and go off the board. The commander's right there. This is the edge of the board, not very far at all. But yeah, Vader just annihilates them, calls that a day. 2 dodges. I'm not even worried about the hits, even though he's only got 3 wounds left. Do you know what I mean? Just super powerful once you get him in combat. That does mean that Luke is left to rampage my behind, but I figured that if I put all my shooting into him, I might be able to whittle him down. His AT-RT moves forward, shoots my speeder bike. Could have shot Vader, shoots a speeder bike. Still dangerous at the speeder bike, even with just one of them. Lovely little unit, if you ask me. So they just moved my other unit of speeder bikes who were just over here. They take the compulsory move to here. Now, initially, I was going to pivot and then shoot with my fixed front, the one of each dice. But I realized they've got the hand blaster thing, the 2 black dice each. So I just compulsory moved, aimed and shot, causing another wound or 2 or whatever the hell amount of wounds onto Luke. Either way, he's getting peppered and progressively, getting more and more injured. So this is where you still can't even see my other unit of stormtroopers, but trust me, they are just off shot here. The fleet troopers come on and then shoot the other unit that do have the objective, killing 3 of them, I think, at this point, which was pretty bad for me at this time. I was like, well, this is looking pretty daunting. I'm fairly sure that they managed to shoot him in return, or maybe it's these guys who shoot them in return. You can finally see them as they come on the board. Well, they were already on the board. They must have shot at Luke and killed him that way. So he's eventually, he didn't have many wounds left, so it was only probably a matter of time. But that's how it happened. Peppered to death by everything, basically. And I've still got the objective, but that unit of fleet troopers up there, very good chance that they'll just kill my troopers here. And these guys, well, you remember those guys who were behind the TIE fighter ages ago? They shot them to give them another suppression token, so they now have 4. They rallied 2, so, I mean, who knows how many would have rallied out of 3, but out of 4 he rallied 2. If he would have rallied 2 when he had 3, he wouldn't have been panicked and he would have stayed on the board. So whether or not it was useful, I don't know. However, they do panic off the board and are completely gone at this point. And this is where, we're at the end of turn 3-ish. Well, we've actually probably just moved on to turn 4, but because you can see my guys are moving the hell away from these guys. I think somebody killed one there. I'm not 100% sure who caused it, but either way, my plan here is to flee. But the problem was, how am I going to make sure that I stop the ATRT on the next turn? Oh no, this is the end of turn 3. These guys have just moved. How am I going to, if the ATRT goes first, they'll kill me. If these guys go first, they could possibly move and kill me. All in all, these guys with the one objective, very precarious, very precarious. Very, very precarious indeed. Leia, you can see here, she is moving up. She was here initially, and she's just coming all the way this way. The unit of full troopers, they're coming this way. They want this objective. The ATRT, you can see, whittling me down, but not doing too much. And behind this objective here, there's one guy with one objective, which is not pictured at the moment. No time for sorrow, and I go with implacable. Now, obviously, that means it's a goodbye to the ATRT. Just simply moves into him, kills him, job done. And that, like, on this side of the board, these 2 units are dead. The ATRT's dead. Everybody's dead. Everybody's dead, Dave. So yeah, I was pretty happy with that at this point, and the game is sort of looking good, but not really. It could very much easily go anyway. And just the next activation, he's got his rebel troopers. They did their free move onto the objective. I think they pick it up and then throw the grenades, the concussion grenades. So they ignore cover, which they would have got maybe heavy cover in this situation. But they didn't matter because it was ignored. So the speeder bikes, dead. I was like, damn, that's an important unit, because they could have very easily flown to the rebel troopers and killed them. However, you can see the rebel troopers are dead already. Now, what killed them? What killed them, John? Well, so what happened? They wanted to get into combat here, but because these guys managed to move before them, so they couldn't just move and shoot me. They had to move, and then they moved again, and they moved into this spot. And basically, my rebel troopers just shot them because they were out in the open. I just aimed and shot, and they died. There's only 4 of them left, so and they don't have great defense dice, and he didn't have a dodge, so that was them dead. This was basically the story of this one guy over here. He kept getting shot by, so I was ignoring the ATRT on this side, because I was like, if I can kill him, but at this point we weren't letting commanders claim objectives. I was like, if I can kill him, he's going to drop this, and this other unit's not going to be able to get back and pick it up in time. So this will, it won't count for anybody. I kept shooting him, giving him a suppression, and he kept dodging and trying to survive. Possibly could have moved out of range 4, but it just never happened. So I basically just kept aiming and shooting with my 2 red dice, because it was range 4. Just hoping for a crit, which didn't come after, I think it didn't come on 2 turns. Whether or not it finally comes, we'll find out in the end. Moving on to, I think it's turn 4 or something like that now. I'm not 100% sure. This is where Leia can double activate. I'm not using, I don't take the wound to perform a free action here. I'm just using this card for the pips, basically. And so you can see I've managed to get my guys, they're fleeing. They don't actually manage to pick up the objective there, because it would have taken me an action and they were suppressed and things like that. They just leave that objective. I basically just wanted to get away from the fleet troopers and these guys. So I'm sort of fleeing towards Vader in the hope that I can survive. These guys have picked this up, and they're pretty happy. Leia's there. At this point, just to sort of try and cause a distraction, I moved these guys out with the difficult terrain, then double moved into here, and Leia popped them good, straight away dead. Sharpshooter 2, the cover didn't matter. They had no real chance, so they died. And yes, you can see here, the rebel troopers move up and shoot my stormtroopers. Unbelievable. It wasn't really unbelievable, but you can see they're dead. So at this point, he has 2 objectives and I have 0. Pretty bad. However, I do have Vader. Now, on this picture, it doesn't look like this is possible, but this is what happened, and we must have measured it properly because I can't imagine us like cheating it for any reason. But Vader moves. I think it's because the picture's zoomed in, but he must have moved to about here, and then he moves and he gets into contact here. But I sort of feel like we end up here, so I'm not 100% sure if this happens. I don't know if Tim maybe just moved the model just for cinematic reasons or whatever, but basically Darth Vader does a double move and gets into combat. And I think you all know how the outcome of that's going to be with 6 red dice PS3, even without rerolls. That's still 3 dead troopers. So now I have 0, he has 1. Now we were rushing a little bit at the end because we spent ages just chatting and stuff like that, but we wanted to try and quickly finish the game. But yeah, they were not long for this world the minute Vader got into combat with them. So at the minute it's 1-0. But yes, eventually, and I think this may have been turn 6. It may have been turn 5. I'm not 100% sure. Because as I said, we were sort of rushing at the end. You can see, this is turn 6 because I remember he only had standing orders left because Luke had died. He had no cards left. And I finally got my crit. I actually got the crit in the first roll and then re-rolled my second one to see if I could get 2 crits. I only could get the 1, but he blanked out on the defense dice. So at the minute, nobody's holding any of them. He's dead. Everybody's dead, Dave, except my unit that came on that was sneaky over here. Killed this unit, helped kill Luke. All they had to do was move up. 2 actions. Well, they had a full move to get into contact with it. Another action to claim it. Now, there was, you may think here, what happened to the AT-RT? And it's sort of a good question. So you can see the AT-RT is not on this picture. So he decided to leave these 3 guys, which, I mean, if they would have had no aim, well, or if they would have had less guys, maybe he could have killed the DLT. There's all ifs and what ifs and all that, what and buts and all that kind of stuff. But basically, he thought best to leave these guys and to go over to the middle to try and help the middle. And he did shoot at these guys and killed one on the previous turn. But I rallied that fine. But on the last turn, he didn't shoot at them. Now, if he might have shot at them before I went, the possibility that he could have caused me a suppression, which meant I couldn't pick it up and it could have been a draw. But the end result basically is that I had that last, whatever it is, this one objective, and it was 1-0 basically. You can't really see, but Leia and Vader are fighting behind here, and the ATST is just over here, out of shot. You can just about see it there on the right. These guys still alive. All in all, a bit of a crazy game because we were rushing at the end. There's so many things we probably could have done like strategically to be a bit better, but that's just the way that it ended up this time. So I did take away the victory 1-0, but we were rushing, so not really, I think, representative of a proper game. We'll probably actually try and get it done a bit quicker, both the game and maybe even the video. And all in all, basically, there's a lot of things I could have done better pictures of, because looking back now, I'm like, I don't even have a picture of that. So what I possibly should do is, like, during the turn at least, or at the start or the end of the turn, take a picture of each side so I can actually work out what happened. If somebody dies, make sure I take a picture of that unit killing that unit, kind of thing, especially if it's important. I need both context and what's actually happening. I remember this game pretty well, but I don't remember the exact order of, like, well, he went and then he went and then he went and then he went. Hopefully you found this okay. I realize this video is probably quite long. Do forgive me. This is possibly the nature of going through the entire game, but I wanted to see if I could do it. It's done now. If I go to a tournament and it's actually a decent high levelish game, I'll try and do something like this. We'll see how people respond to this. If people don't like it, I won't do them, because I'll just do the live videos with, like, at home or whatever. But you don't know until you do it, basically. Have a most beautiful day. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Do like and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts on the video, both good and bad. I'm not going to be offended. Don't worry if you don't like this video. Just let me know. It's fine. And if you do like this video, do let me know, because then I'll do more. Have a most beautiful... I don't know what that was. Have a most beautiful day, and goodbye. Bye, guys.